everyone, today's video is going to be a vegan Christmas mince pie taste test. So I've got 5 different mince pies that I'm going to try and give you guys my thoughts on, tell you which one I would recommend getting this Christmas. Now I did intend to have a few more options for this video, but there were quite a few mince pies that I saw online that I couldn't then find in person. So I will list a few of those down below in case they're at supermarkets that you shop at and you want to know which ones are their vegan options. One I will say that I don't have here is the Asda just regular cheap mince pies. I got those last year. They happen to be accidentally vegan, which is always great. They come in a box of 6 and I'm pretty sure they're only £1, which is nice. Most of these options I've picked up are the free from options, so they are advertised as vegan. A lot of them are also gluten-free if you happen to be gluten-free, but it does mean they are a little bit more pricey than just like the regular boxes, because they do have that vegan label on it and they can get away with making them that little bit more expensive. But I'm going to give them all a try and I will let you guys know what I think. So the first ones I'm going to try are these ones from Audi. These were £1.35 and you get 4 in a pack and they are free from, so they're gluten-free as well as vegan. I will also say before I start, all of these are just standard mince pies. There were a few iced mince pies at a few of these supermarkets that were also free from, but I am just not a fan of iced mince pies. I think they just seem so wrong to me. I don't know, let me know what you guys think, but something about an iced mince pie is just, yeah, it doesn't sit right with me. Looks wise, it looks like a very standard mince pie. It's got the sugar on the top. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of these free from mince pies are made by the same people, because they all look very, very similar, so we'll see if they also taste the same. If you've seen my festive vlog, you would have seen that I had my first mince pie of the year in that, and that was one of these Asda free from ones, which are also gluten-free, and I was really impressed by the pastry in that because I feel like I haven't had the best experience with gluten-free things. It's normally not as good, which is why it's always so frustrating that vegan and gluten-free like get put together in the same boat. I mean, unless you're vegan and gluten-free, then that's probably really handy, but I was kind of annoyed that most of the vegan options were also gluten-free. But this one I can also not tell, like it doesn't taste like gluten-free pastry at all. It's still just as soft, like just as crumbly. It doesn't fall apart like gluten-free stuff normally does. So I feel like they've really nailed the free from mince pies this year. I feel like I'm gonna start high with my ratings and give that one an 8 out of 10. Really had no issues with it. I really like the flavour. I feel like it had quite a strong orange taste. I don't know if that's just because I got a big bit of peel, but I feel like that I have no complaints about that. It tastes good, so gonna give that one an 8 out of 10. I feel like it's hard to judge it too harshly without having any of the other ones to compare it to, so the next one I'm gonna be trying are these ones from Sainsburys. These were £1.50 and again they're free from and you get 4 in a pack. They look incredibly similar to the Audi ones, so we'll see if they taste the same. I was worried with this video that I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between any of these mince pies, but this one definitely tastes slightly different. I think the main difference is the texture of the pastry. This one feels like a lot harder, like it was really hard to get out of the little tin package, and the pastry itself is almost like crunchy, whereas the Audi one was a lot softer. I feel like I definitely preferred the Audi one. I think the taste of the pastry of this one is different as well. Like the last one felt kind of buttery. This one tastes a lot more cooked, I guess. Like it's got more of like a, not burnt flavour because it doesn't taste burnt, but I guess the crispiness and the overall flavour just tastes like it's been cooked for a little bit longer, if that makes sense. So again, it's still not bad, but it's definitely not as good as the Audi ones in my opinion. So I think I would maybe give this one a 6.5 out of 10. Next up, we've got these ones from Waitrose. These are the only ones that I got that aren't actually sold as vegan. They just happen to be accidentally vegan. As far as I'm aware, I can't see anything in it that wouldn't be vegan, so we will see how these compare. These are also not gluten-free, so I'm assuming the pastry texture will be a little bit different. You also get 6 in this box and it's only £1, so these were the cheapest mince pies and you also get the most, so they're definitely the best value for money, and that's from Waitrose as well. So I feel like Waitrose obviously is known for being a little bit more expensive, but because these ones aren't free from, they obviously are a little bit cheaper. Appearance wise, these are the first ones to look a little bit different. Both the last two have the same sort of like crimping around the edge. This one's a little bit different. I mean, I don't think it'll make any difference to how it tastes, but we'll see. I'm not a fan of that, which is a surprise because they're like the most normal mince pies here. The pastry texture is very, very different, which does make me realise that the gluten-free is probably having some sort of impact in the other ones that I've tried. It feels significantly softer, which I don't think is necessarily a good thing. The other ones still have good texture with like a little bit more crunch to them. This pastry like literally melts in your mouth, which I know is what pastry should do. So I guess that gains a point in that respect, but I do not like the taste of that filling at all. I don't know how they could have gone so wrong with the taste of the mince pie filling, or if I'm just used to tasting different mince pie fillings, but these two both had a very fruity taste. They also had like a lot of texture to them. This one, I feel like the inside is just like mush, which I know mince pie filling is mush, but there's like no fruit bits in here. There's no whole raisins. It's just like a puree. I mean, the flavour is not right. It doesn't have any sort of like orange taste. Yeah, I don't know what is going on with this one. That is not what I was expecting. I assumed these ones would be the best. So I'm gonna have to give this one like a 5 out of 10. I really wasn't a big fan. It gets an extra point for the pastry, but that still doesn't really make up for anything. I am not a huge fan of this one. Next, we've got the free from ones from Asda. So like I already mentioned, I did try these for the first time the other day. So technically you already know what these taste like. Again, they have a very similar design to the other free from ones I tried. And I'm pretty sure these were slightly more expensive at £1.55. So something to bear in mind if the free from ones do end up being quite similar. Pastry wise, I feel like this is going to be similar to the Sainsburys one. It had the same like struggle to get out of the packaging, which I don't know if that's something that you judge mince pies on, but I feel like that's not giving me the highest expectations for this. Even though I tried it the other day, I feel like now that I'm comparing it directly to other ones, I might not like it quite so much. The pastry of these two is definitely very, very similar. I was just trying to compare the ingredients to see how similar they both were. I feel like they have very similar ingredients lists. One thing I will say that all 4 of the free from mince pies have almonds in them, so if any of you guys have got nut allergies, that's something to bear in mind. The Essentials Waitrose one doesn't have any sort of nut in, so don't know if that's something that they add to the gluten-free pastry potentially to make it work. I'm not sure why the free froms one would have nuts in and the regular ones didn't. Overall though, I can't really tell the difference between these two. I think they taste pretty much identical. I think if I had a blind taste test and I tried both of them, I wouldn't even necessarily know which one I tried. So I think depending on what supermarket you shop at, either of these are a good choice. Again, I'd probably have to give that a 6.5 out of 10. And then finally, I've got these ones which are from Iceland. These were £2 for 4, and again, they were in the free from section, so they are gluten, wheat and milk free. These were the most expensive ones out of all the mince pies that I picked up, so I'm hoping that they taste the best, because I feel like Iceland is known for having more affordable foods, so the fact that their free from item is the most expensive one is a little bit surprising to me. Again, on the outside, this one looks the exact same as all the other free from mince pies. That has a really weird taste. Almost reminds me of the Waitrose one. It tastes like earthy. I don't know if it's maybe the nuts, or I don't know if I've just got that in my head now that I know that there's nuts in this. It just has like a really, yeah, I think earthy would be the best way to describe it, taste. I've actually surprised myself with how different these actually taste. In my head, I did think they would all be very similar, but I'm not a fan of these Iceland ones. I would give that like a 4 out of 10. Would not buy that again. Would not recommend people buying that. Interestingly, this has more sugar than the Audi ones, but it tastes less sweet. It's interesting looking at like the nutritional breakdown of these mince pies, because I think I'd fully convinced myself that the Sainsburys one and the Asda's one was the exact same. I know that for some free from products, they get them from elsewhere, so different supermarkets end up having the same thing, but just branded differently. So I thought these were the same, but looking at the amount of sugar that they have, Sainsbury's has 22.5 grams, I think that is, or 22.8, whereas the Asda's ones only have 18. So they clearly are different recipes, but I couldn't tell a huge amount of difference between the two of them. This Iceland one, bottom of my list. My favourites were definitely these Audi ones, although I would have been equally as happy probably with the Sainsburys or Asda's ones. They're not bad in any sense. I feel like the pastry isn't as good, it doesn't have like the right texture, but filling wise, I definitely prefer all 3 of these fillings to both of these ones. The Waitrose ones I think is like one of the biggest disappointments for me, because I love finding things that are accidentally vegan, because obviously if you've got guests around, it's nice to be able to give them something that looks normal, so they're not going to be all judgy about being vegan or gluten-free. I feel like as soon as someone sees the free from package, they're like, oh, that's going to be gross, when in hindsight the free from ones are actually nicer than the regular ones in this case. So Let me know if you guys have tried any of these. Let me know what your favourite vegan mince pie is this year. I will say I am a big fan of the Asda ones I mentioned at the beginning. They're also pretty cheap and cheerful, and you get 6 in the box, so I think I would still probably buy them as my go-to. But if I also needed them to be gluten-free, then the Audi ones would be my pick. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.